Hey folks, it's Bluegrass Survival, coming at you with another tabletop knife review. Today I want to discuss the Fallkniven F1 Survival Knife. Now before I discuss my theory about this knife and some things I like and do not like, let's go ahead and discuss the specs. First off, this knife has what they call a thermal run handle. The blade length of this knife is about 3.8 inches. Total length of the knife is about 8.3 inches. It has a blade thickness of 4.5 millimeters. The steel itself has a Rockwell hardness of 59. Now the steel on this knife is what they call a laminated VG10. Now I don't know if you guys can see this or not. That little small line that runs along the blade, that is the VG10 core. The entire knife is not VG10. It actually has some other steel here on the sides. So basically this blade is like 3 pieces of steel. I've seen one of these things beaten to death, and even though he managed to crack it, this thing still held together and functioned. And honestly, most knives, if you crack them the way I've seen this knife get cracked, it's not going to do a whole lot of anything except fall apart. This knife is full tang, as you can see. Steel runs all the way through that handle, and it comes out on the end there, making a pommel. So if you have to crack nuts or a tent peg or anything of that sort, skull cracker, whatever, it will do the job. Now this blade here has what they call a convex grind. It might be a little hard to show that. Here, let's see if I can get an angle on that there. Some people have a problem sharpening these convex grinds. Mostly what I do if I use this knife is I'll just take it across a leather strop when I'm done, you know, like this, whatever. And as long as you keep up on the knife, it'll stay sharp. And man, I'll tell you, this thing is wicked sharp. One of the sharpest knives I've had before. I've been very impressed with it. Now a little bit about the sheath here. Some of these Fallknivens come with a plastic sheath. Now I have one for the A1, but I really wanted something different for the F1 because I wanted to carry this knife. Now the A1 is a little bit big to carry out around people. Some folks will get a little startled having you walk around with a blade of like a 6.3 inches. This thing is pretty public friendly because it has this leather piece that comes over, and you can just snap it there and they can't see what you have in there. It's a very good quality leather, very thick. It's got a very generous belt loop here, as you can see. I've been very happy with it. It's a very good leather. Has that nice deep leather smell to it. I know this thing is simple, but I love it. It's exactly what I wanted. The only thing I don't like is I don't like this tip here. I just wish it kind of came down here and went over. Kind of like a Leatherman holster, you know. That way it doesn't look so much. It doesn't have that point on it. I wish it didn't have that. But other than that, I like it. I like it a lot. Now, my philosophy of use for this knife, this is not a tactical knife, okay, by any means. For one, it lacks the blade length, okay, in my opinion. Now, this is just my opinion now, okay. A fighting knife or tactical knife should be longer, about maybe around 7 inches, maybe 7 or more, actually. You really want more of a hand guard for a fighting knife, okay? Because You know, you don't want your hand to run up on this blade if you had to stab, penetrate. If you hit bone or something, there's a good chance you might have your fingers run up on this, and this knife would cut your finger clean off, no problem. This thing is crazy sharp. Now the handle itself is very comfortable. I have smaller hands, so this knife fits perfectly in my hand. Now, if you have larger hands, you might have a problem with this knife if your hands are large. I know over at Gideon's Tactical, he did a very extensive review on this knife, and he did not like it because it didn't have much of a handguard, and because the handle itself was a little bit too small for his hands. So I mean, it's to each their own. He didn't have a problem with the steel. I mean, he liked that part. It was really the handle and the sheath that he disliked. As far as a cutting blade, it does work very well. It's going to get the job done. As you can see, it also has a lanyard hole there, a very generous one. I don't have one in this one right now, but I'll probably get to it down the road there. Now, if I had to rate the sheath, I'd probably rate it maybe a I guess a 3.5. There's a few things that, in my opinion, can make the sheath a little bit better. As far as the knife goes, I would rate this a 4. Everything about the knife I love. The only thing that hurts this knife, in my opinion, is I wish I had a little bit more of a handguard right here. Just a little bit more. But honestly, the philosophy of use for this knife, this is for like, survival, hunting, stuff like that. I mean, this would make a pretty good skinning knife. Hunting knife, companion knife, just something to have on you that's not going to fail you. It's durable. This knife would do that for you. But like I said, if you're looking for a big tactical knife, stuff like that, you're going to want something bigger with a more pronounced handguard. That way it's going to protect your hand if anything, ever happened and you had to use that knife for self-defense or whatever. Anyway, yeah, that's my thing on the Fallkniven F1 here. Oh yeah, and the only thing I think I forgot to mention was this knife weighs about 6 ounces, which isn't really bad. Like its big brother, the A1. I love both knives. They're both very light, and you don't even know you have this thing on you. I mean, it isn't like carrying an SE where if you have like an SE5 on you, you know that knife is on your belt. You just know it because it's a big chunk of steel. And even though the A1 is just as thick as the SE, I find the A1 itself a lot lighter, and this knife is even lighter than the A1. So I mean, it's a great knife. It cuts great. It's very dependable, and it's been an awesome knife for me. But anyway, folks, that's really all I have to say about this Fallkniven F1. And remember, it's not what you got, it's what you know. This is Bluegrass Survival, signing off.